Okay, so let's look at Matplotlib, pyplot, and then there are certain terms that we need to know. So we talked about figure, we talked about axis. They're very much similar, but we are going to use this extensively, and the properties of axis and so on. And then we are going to look at some plots, and finally we are going to explore. If you want additional information, we can go to the gallery, the grid layout in Matplotlib documentation. So the first thing that you need to do is we need to import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. This is most often used convention to use call the functions within this class using this PLT object notation. Okay, and we are using matplotlib inline just to indicate that the pictures we are going to draw are going to be shown within this document. So how do we even start? I'm ignoring any warnings that arise. So let's So what do you see here? So the first thing that we are going to do is we are calling this class, and we are creating, we are using this figure to create an object called figure, right? So remember we were specifying the length and width. So in this case, actually width and height, that is what is actually the right term. So the width is 20, and then this is 5. And then from the figure, we are trying to create an axis with these dimensions. Remember, we are saying the lower bottom is 0, the upper bottom is the lower bottom. Here we can specify as 0, 0, and width and height as a proportion here, which is 1. So we are using the axis as a plot area for the entire figure area. Okay, so that is what you're doing. So once however, if you want to, let's say, draw something here, or let's say you want to draw a smaller image here, or plot area here, remember what we are calling this whole thing as figure, this as axis. If you want to add some custom axis, this is how we can do it, as explained. As explained previously. So what we are trying to do here, so we are trying to add axis manually. So we can say, so this is the complete figure, and then axis 2 is we are specifying 0.1, 0.6, 0.4, 0.3, right? What do you mean by 0.1? From left to the right, we are going 0.1 units, and from the bottom we are going 0.6 units. So this particular one is going to be 0.1 and 0.6, and then the width is specified as 0.4 units, and the height is 0.3 units. Okay, so that's how we are going to specify this plot area, and this one we can specify on the right side we are going 0.6, and to the top we are going 0.6 units, and the width and height are 0.2 and 0.2. So if you want to plot anything, this is how you need to specify axis. Remember, we are using object-oriented method. So in this case, we have two objects here. One is a figure object, and the other one is a axis object. Once you have axis, so the axis object is called, once you have axis, which is the plot area, we can manipulate the axis on its own. Okay. Now, what I'm doing here is I can actually create the figure and axis all at once. How can I do that automatically? Is I can specify number of rows and number of columns and the figure size all in one go, but use a function call called subplots. What it will return is a figure. Figure, remember, it's a whole area, and axis is each of these plots. So here I'm actually doing a very simple operation of calling x label and x label for each one of them. So what am I doing? I'm iterating through the rows, the first row, second row, and I'm adding, I'm printing these values, like so 0th row, second, the same row and the second column and so on. So, and I'm also calling this object axis. Its axis is actually a two-dimensional list, and I'm specifying getting a row, getting a column, and I'm setting a value called x label underscore row and column. That's what I'm doing here, right? So if I'm working with axis or plot, so let's say I want to draw a line like this. Okay, I'm doing many things here. One is I'm setting a x label, I'm setting a y label, and then I'm drawing a title. So let me do x label, y label, and then the class. So the data is going to be, I simply draw 1 to 5 as x data. Y data is a square of these values, right? So if you print it, you will see 2, 4, 9, 16, and 25. So you can see the y values are already, when you're trying to plot it, it's already showing plot. So I did a simple thing called axis.plot. Once I do a plot, it will do a line chart. Okay, that's a very simple axis. And remember, I'm using the object axis and the method that it has, set x label, y label, set title, and so on. How am I going to work with two plots? So if I want to add one more line, so here I create another variable called y2, which is actually a cube of these values, right? So this is this blue line is a square, and this line is a cube, right? So I can actually draw more than one line just by calling function called plot and the values. So remember, it automatically adjusted the y labels and x labels tick values. So however, we don't know what this line means only. If you want to do some manipulation to this one, we can still do a few more operations. So this is same thing as in the previous graph, and this data is the same thing as in the previous graph. Now what we are trying to do is we are trying to give, when we are calling this function axis, we are trying to use additional parameters. Like in this case, we are saying the line style is of a dash type, right? And the line width, we are saying it's a 5, and the color is blue. So I'm specifying this plot. Remember, the label is useful when you're trying to draw a legend. So legend is this area where the blue is square is the blue line, and it's here. And then axis, in the second one, we are drawing a label as cube. The line style is just a line, and the width of this line is specified as 10, and the color we are specifying is that red. And the axis.legend, if you call this one, it will show as a square and cube. Okay. So let's move to scatter plot. I think what bar plots, I think I have an error, because let me read on this kernel. So I just started the kernel. Let's see what it runs. So it draw a figure. It